ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. So last time, before our break, we are seeing the process of meditation. He had described in the 6th chapter the actual thing about sitting, all that stuff. Okay. And we had also done some meditative practice. Until this chapter is over, every day we'll do a small, simple meditation. Preparation in the form of japa dhyanam and ending with nididhyasanam, owning up the truth. Okay. So up to now, any questions before I go ahead? Or it's all clear? Okay. So let's go ahead then. So he had said, we saw the 14th verse last time, right?
No, actually she didn't.
The 14th we saw. Mastam adhigacchati. 15th also we saw, I think, right? Did you see the 15th?
Yes. We had seen Swamiji. We had seen the 15th also.
We have to see the 15th. Okay, good.
No, we have seen it.
We have seen it, yeah. Because he had said, Mastanam adhigacchati. So, to resolve the mind in myself. Now, when Krishna speaks as resolving the mind in myself, he is talking from two standpoints. One simple standpoint as a standpoint of Ishvara. Ishvara is, to technically define it, Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karana, meaning the non-dual, material and efficient cause for the universe. The material for the universe and the intelligence behind the universe, both are Ishvara. That way, the Vedantic vision of Ishvara is completely unique. Because it does not look as Ishvara or God as separate from the creation. Okay? As sitting somewhere in Timbuktu and deciding the fate of men and mortals. No, it is included in our vision. We are all part of the whole thing, if you are looking from the functional standpoint. So if you don't understand Vedanta enough and you are starting your meditation, what I call, that's the preparatory aspect of it, to get your mind steady, etc., you focus on Ishvara. Okay. This also goes by the name Upasana, what is commonly known as meditation. Okay. And the definition would be Saguna Brahma Vishaye Manasa Vyaparaha. Mental activity with respect to Brahman in its form with names and qualities. All names and forms. That would be what we will call as Ishvara. And Saguna Brahma Vishaye. So, with respect to that Brahman, that Ishvara, a Manasa Vyapara, a mental activity, would be called meditation. Okay. So, technically speaking, if you are looking from the Vedantic standpoint, meditation should involve Ishvara or some aspect of Ishvara. So even when we are doing, let us say, some pure energy meditation, where we think Ishvara is not in the picture. Why I am doing, even let's say Reiki, for example, or Qigong, or any other energy work. In our thinking, Ishvara is still involved. Why? Because the energy that you are invoking is part of what we know as Hiranyagarbha, the total prana, the total energy in the universe, which is Ishvara, which is part of Ishvara. Therefore, even in those type of meditations, so-called secular meditation, Ishvara is involved. Okay? In fact, One of the names for Ishvara is we call him as Prana, invoke him as Prana. Hiranyagarbha, Prana, etc. are the names used for Ishvara because focusing on those aspects of it. So this is one aspect of meditation. The other aspect is when you say Mastanam, to contemplate on me would be on the true nature of Ishvara, which is not different from my own nature. That's a pure consciousness. The second one would be called Nididhyasana. Upasana and Nididhyasana. So Nididhyasana would be technically defined as Nirguna Brahma Vishaye Manasa Vyapara. Mental activity with respect to Nirgunam Brahman. Brahman which is not manifested. Brahman which does not have names and forms, but as the pure content, as pure consciousness. So this verse, Krishna is talking from both standpoints. And whether you accept Krishna as a historical figure or not, whether you accept him as Ishvara or not, the standpoint of the talking is Ishvara's standpoint. For me, Krishna is Ishvara. He is also a historical figure. No more a myth with the finding of the underwater city of Dwarka, etc. He has moved from myth to history. So, historical figure. And from what is written in the Gita, etc., I will accept him as Ishvara as well. Okay. So, with that standpoint, he is talking about. After this much we saw last time. Okay, elaborately. Last class we saw all that. This now, from here on next few verses, he is describing a lifestyle for the meditator. Okay. Can you do me a favor? Please close that window. There's some racket here, so I'm just asking someone to close that window. Okay. There's a construction going on and I forgot to close the window. Okay. That's enough. Thanks, sir. So there will be less disturbance. Can't completely eliminate it. This is Bombay. Okay. So he is describing a lifestyle. Why a lifestyle? Because remember, you are working with the mind. The nature of your mind will be affected by how you function. Okay. It is, that's part of the game. Okay. Like, if you are in a corporate job, high tension job, you are doing very well for yourself. Deadlines, okay? Deadlines coming up. Working 16 hours a day. It's quite common in Bombay, isn't it? 16 hours a day. Tell me, will you be able to go home and meditate? Too full of pressure. Too much of pressure. Now, yes, if you know the truth, if you have already done a lot of meditation, etc., before that, you'll be able to command a quiet mind even in the stressful time. If you know the truth, even that stress is no big deal. In fact, there is no stress. There is only tired because you worked a lot. Only the tiring is there. There is no stressfulness. That's taken care of. So, given that, what is the lifestyle necessary as a norm? Okay, and if we look at the verses, you will also understand this is where Buddha got his eightfold path from. You know, he said right conduct, right activity, right this thing. Where did he get it from? Because Buddhism is all about a contemplative lifestyle. There is no Buddhist without meditation or being contemplative. Okay. In fact, if you look at a hardcore Buddhist monk sometimes, even when he's talking to you, you will think, is he lost somewhere? Like one of the Buddhist monks had turned up at the yoga festival and I had some interaction with them. So sometimes he seemed a bit, then I realized no, his mind has slowed down so much it looks like that. Is it healthy, unhealthy? You have to decide. Meditation can. Now one of the flip sides of meditation, can't call it purely negative, flip side of meditation is that your mind may become very slow. I mean, this is if you do 6 to 8 hours of meditation every day. None of us does that much, so all of us are safe, okay? If you do 15-20 minutes, lots of, nice. But I'm talking if you're doing 6 to 8 hours, then it can happen. That can happen. So to back it up, to prevent that from happening, you'll have to do other activities, physical activities, breathing activities, pranayamas, qigong work, etc. Not the simple, this pranayama, no, that's too simple. The harder ones, the more difficult ones. The one that will make your mind more awake, more alert. So as a combination, you will have a very contemplative, at the same time alert mind. Okay. Now this is one of the flip sides. Okay. And the Zen masters, the higher level of martial arts, both are done. Yeah. That's why their minds move fast. Okay. Yeah. Though they are calm centered, the mind will move fast, body will also move fast. Yeah. Okay. With that sidelight, let us see what he's saying. Na atiyashnastu yogosti naishekantamash nacha asti swapnashilasya jagrato naiva charjuna. Na ati ashnastu yoga asti. Ati ashna. If you are eating a lot, if you are a great foodie, you are always either eating or thinking of eating. Okay. Haven't you seen people like that? At breakfast, they are thinking what they'll have for lunch. At lunch, they are planning what they'll have at tea time. At tea time, they are planning of what they have at dinner. 3 square meals means 1 round stomach. Be careful of that, okay? So, ati ashnaha. You're eating so much, overloading your system. Overloading your system. Then is your mind going to be alert and available for meditation? Or in the name of meditation, you'll go to sleep? Because all the blood is rushing to your stomach, not to the head. Ati ashnaha. So how do you know what is too much? Because there are different people with different requirements. Okay. That each one has to find out, eat in such a manner that you feel alert and this thing, that you don't have to sleep immediately after a meal. Like you come to a South Indian sadhya, a wedding feast or something, all you're fit to do after that meal is to keel over and go to sleep. You can't do anything else. No, we are not talking about that. Yeah. We are talking about healthy eating, where you feel good, you feel alert, you don't feel you have to sleep. Though it is true that after an afternoon lunch, if it's warm, nice climate, you can feel a little bit drowsy. That's okay, that's a different thing. But it is not because of the stuff. You are not feeling too stuffed. In fact, again, it is said, there is a verse for that also in Sanskrit. Half your stomach filled with solids. Okay. 1/4 with liquids. And 1/4 you leave for the movement of air and digestion. So now don't ask me, Swamiji, how do you know what is half? You can try. Eat a pound of rice one day and see how you feel. No, that is full stomach. Half of that. Pound of cooked rice. Huh? It's a lot of... I'm joking. What I'm saying is each one knows what is appropriate for them. Just because you see somebody eating more doesn't mean I can handle it. Just because I see somebody eating less doesn't mean I can handle that much less food. Each one has their own requirements. There is no fixed rule. Where you feel healthy and nice. Na ati ashnaha. Then, na cha ekantam anashnataha. No, I am not going to eat at all. Only one meal. That is fine if in that one meal you are consuming some 2000 calories. It's okay. Because that is more or less the requirement for an active person. Samji, what about intermittent fasting, 2 meals a day? Does it work for you? Yeah, fine. No, Samji, I find it difficult. I need 3 small meals a day. Fine. What works? What works for you, works for you. But not this long, prolonged fasting. Unless you're taking it as a treatment. Like even in Ayurveda, etc. There are times when you fast a lot. Even in our tradition, our day-to-day life, Ekadashi you don't eat. The 11th day after the full moon or the 11th day after new moon, whole day you are not eating. That's a day of giving rest to the body. There is not a norm for life. That's one day in 2 weeks. Healthy habit. Or you're going for a naturopathy treatment. First 3 days you're not eating anything. Except some liquid that they'll give you, some kada they call it. No? Some herbal concoction. That's the only thing you're taking. That is treatment. That is separate. Because why I'm saying all this is people say, but naturopathy said that, Ayurveda is saying this. All true. But those are treatments. Okay. So 2 meals work for you, fine. 3 meals work for you, fine. Okay. Samji, I'm a bodybuilder. I eat 6 times a day. Yeah, I know people like that. I'm saying all this because I know people like that. It works for the bodybuilder. Because they need to take some 3,500 calories a day and solid proteins to build up their systems, their physiques. Not very healthy, not very functional muscles. A lot of strength, but flexibility is compromised, endurance is compromised, repetitive movements are compromised. Then because of so much of protein, in the long run, kidneys are compromised. Okay. Overloading of proteins, long run. So many of them, after their career in bodybuilding, they lose at least 20-30 kilos, come back to a more normal weight. Okay. Then you're taking, and if you're taking things like steroids, etc., don't even talk of meditation. Okay, it messes up your moods, makes you too aggressive, etc. All this is part of the world, therefore I'm negating it. Okay, you won't find Krishna saying all that. Steroids were not used. Okay, those days. But Swamiji, they were warriors, they were big eaters. Big eater was only Bhima among the Pandavas. Bhima was a big man. He was almost like a giant. So he needed a lot of food to sustain himself. But he is described as Vrakodaraha, wolf-bellied. He didn't have a big belly. He was wolf-bellied. Like a wolf it was. Small belly, okay. That's the description. Yeah, but he's a big man, therefore he needed a lot of food. Otherwise, warriors, if you are under training, you'll only eat twice. Right? Morning, a high carb meal. But Swamiji, you should start the day with proteins. Yeah, there is some proteins, but the meal is generally high carb. Why? You need energy to last the training, whole day training. When a warrior trains, is in full training, the training goes for the whole day. Not 1 hour morning, 1 hour evening. Full day you are training with different weapons, different ways, different exercise, different. So you need energy to sustain. So it's a high carb meal. And evening, you need proteins to repair all the muscle damage that may have happened. So it's a high protein meal.
Even in military.
Yeah, yeah. So 2 meals. Afternoon, where is time to eat your training? Where is the time to eat your training? So evening have a good meal, high protein. So each thing will depend upon your lifestyle, will depend upon your eating, will depend upon your lifestyle. And believe me, traditional warriors were good meditators. You couldn't rise to that level of functioning without being contemplative and good meditators. So traditional warrior training involved meditation and lots of it also. Okay, moving meditations as well. You move with a calm, quiet mind. Okay. Okay. Nacha ekantam anashnataha. Nacha ati swapnashilasya. Not one who's sleeping all the time. So I need 10 hours a day. Unhealthy. Unhealthy. Medical research says about 7-8 hours. 6 to 8 hours should be more than enough for a human being. Unless you are doing so much of physical work, therefore you need some more. Or you are highly stressed out, therefore you need some more. That's why 6 to 8 hours. In fact, again, medical research has shown getting 10 hours of sleep every day is damaging for the heart. There's some papers from Harvard to do that. Don't ask me where the papers are, I don't remember, but it is there. So, nati ati swapna shilasya. Jagrito naiva charjunaha. I am like our modern youngsters, night owls. So 4 hours sleep is enough for me. Unhealthy for the system again. After 4 hours sleep, try to meditate and show me. You will be continuing your sleep in meditation, that's all. It's a very good meditation I had. I did not know a thing. Samadhi mega. I went into Samadhi. What Samadhi? I could hear you snoring. I'm not joking. This happens sometimes in our ashrams, morning meditation class. And these guys, it's an ashram setup. You are left. There are certain general guidelines. That's all. There is no. We don't have 365 rules. To live in ashram. You're adults. You know what is good for you. No. There's no rules of conduct and this and dharma-based living, Baba. It's simple. Take it. So sometimes you get into a discussion because you're all studying Vedanta, and Vedanta grew in the language of debate and discussion. Debates and discussion, not monologues. Okay. We had a discussion like that in the yoga festival. It sounded more like a monologue. In 10 minutes I was bored. I couldn't sit down there anymore. One person talking, and the other person talking. 80% of the thing is same, only 20% variation. Where the discussion? You challenge each other. So this happens in our ashram quite often. So the discussion started after dinner and it went on in the night, Finally you realize by about 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock we have to get up. Oh, let us catch a nap. You can't sleep. And then what will happen to them in the morning meditation? Naturally you'll snore away. Because the day is hectic, intense, not physically, mentally. It's hectic, demanding. So, Nati, Jagrataha all. I'm a meditator, I need only 4 hours sleep. Yeah, there are meditations. I can teach you that, but I won't, because people will abuse that system. Where on a day where you know you don't have enough chance to sleep, the particular type of meditation you do, it is synchronized with breathing. 4 hours will be refreshing enough for you. But that's meant for short periods of time, not your whole lifestyle. Okay? Not your whole lifestyle. Like normal lifestyle, yeah. Don't be an owl. Don't be a lark. Be normal. Have enough sleep. Okay? Have enough sleep. Jagrito naiva charjuna. Arjuna is not meant for one who's going sleepless in the night. And in all this, what is the worst thing? I'm supposed to mention it as a sidelight here because of what I see among our youngsters doing. Go to sleep at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Why? What are they doing up to 2 o'clock? On the net. I don't know how much productive work is happening, but anyway, 2 o'clock. And then you get up. I skip breakfast. I get straight have my lunch. You get up for lunch. Worst thing to do for your system. It throws your body clock completely haywire. Okay. In fact, there is a actually biorhythm clock. What time you are supposed to do what. Okay. Where your each organ is functioning at its peak. Therefore, when to have your, this gives you a range like lunch between 1 and 3, because your stomach and intestines are functioning at the peak at that time. Okay. So all this, but this type of modern youngsters, they throw their biorhythms completely haywire. Doesn't work. In fact, a friend of mine, see, we all travel internationally. So naturally, body clock is thrown out of gear a little bit. I have found a simple solution. When you are traveling, sleep as much as you can. Then you can hit the ground running. You can, like when I went to UK, right, the first day, I went to sleep at 1 o'clock in the night. That's 6:30 in the morning here in India. So according to my bio clock, I should be waking up, not going to sleep. But since I had slept so much there, my body adjusted faster. It is okay. But if you keep doing this too often, like a friend of mine, he used to come to the yoga festival initially. He doesn't come nowadays. He's also a Swami. Every 2 days he is in a new country. Until he fell ill and he came to India for Ayurvedic treatment with Dr. Parthasarthi. All of you know Dr. Parthasarthi. He has spoken at a Vedic Wisdom Festival and everything. He speaks at the Yoga Festival also. He said simple, stop so much of international travel. At least stay in one place for 4-5 days minimum. So your body can adjust. Okay. So now tell me, when you are turning time zones like this, how much can you contemplate? Unless you already are a good strong meditator. Then any time is meditation. Then what are you asking about this lifestyle, etc.? Take someone like Bhishma from the Mahabharata. He is contemplative when he is handling the affairs of the kingdom. He is contemplative in the battlefield also. That's a different thing altogether. Okay? That is once you have reached that. This Krishna is talking for people who are starting off in the whole thing. Actually, this chapter is not necessary for Arjuna at all. This chapter is Vyasa's elaboration for you and me. Okay? You don't become a Vajramushti warrior and on top of it a Maharati unless you learn what a contemplative mind is about. Okay? That's why all these descriptions, you think Arjuna needed all this? Focus and dharana he had as a kid. You remember the story we studied in school? Okay, let me talk you something about that so you understand what meditation is about. It is not always sitting down meditation. The Pandava and the Kaurava princes, they already had some idea of archery, etc. They are youngsters, okay? 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds. But they already had some idea of archery and everything. Kripacharya was their teacher. They already knew something. They were good archers also. Then Drona was called in. Drona appeared on the scene. Okay. He was tired of his poverty. Drona was a person who was living a Brahmana lifestyle, an intellectual lifestyle, therefore only teaching, etc. And he was a poor man. Okay. Then when he had a child, etc., he got fed up. This is a long story, I don't want to go into that. Fed up of the poverty and wanted to make some money. So he knew, if I go to Hastinapura, they will want me to teach the royal princesses. There are 105 of them. Okay? I have a great job for life as a royal teacher. So he lands up in Hastinapura. And Bhishma welcomes him. Bhishma knows him. Okay. They are both are students of Parashurama. One generation. Bhishma was one generation before Drona. That is all. There is a 30-year gap between both of them. 30 or 40-year gap. So, Bhishma welcomes him as right teacher for them. The teaching starts. How? First 1 month, all of them are supposed to look at their bows. The bow is kept unstrung in front of them. Whole day you are just focusing on the bow. What are you doing? You are contemplating on the bow. Contemplating on the bow? What for? Necessary. Why? You name your bow. That's why all great warriors named their weapons. Like Arjuna was called Gandhiva. Okay. Why? Because why? You need to build up an emotional connect with your weapon. Your energy and the bow should have a connection. So you are attacked in the middle of the night. You are not going to say, "Where did I keep my bow?" the army camp is under attack. You are going to search for your weapon. Weapon should leap into your hands. How will it leap into your hands? The emotional connect. Groggy with sleep, you put your hand, pick up the bow. That way. So 1 month, all they are doing for us is looking at the bow. Developing that emotional connect. Observing the bow in great detail. Ask our modern youngsters to do it. There is one place where they will do it very well. You know where? With their phones. Your emotional connect will be strong for them. Yes, that emotional connect you have with your weapons. It's 1 month. Second month, you take the bow in hand, left hand. If you are a right-handed person, you will take the bow in the left hand. And string it. Hold it with your big toe, balance it with your big toe and string it. That is true. Like the samurai did the same with their swords. String the bow. Then unstring it, place it down. Pick it up, string, unstring, it down. Kya karta hai yaar? When am I going to shoot? Not yet. Not yet. String, unstring, string, unstring. And to be done with full alertness, no slacking. You're getting bored and doing it, you'll get a whack on the back, okay? And the whack from Drona was a whack, okay? Yeah. 1 month goes on. Then, next step, you notch the bow. You notch the bow with an arrow, pull it up, unnotch, keep it down. This had 2 reasons. Not only emotional connect in this, also building up your strength. A war bow, a long bow, you needed 100 pounds of pressure, 100 pounds of pressure per square inch to pull it up. That's like lifting 100 pounds in a single arm row in the gym. Imagine 1 armed rows that you do in the gym using 100 pounds. How often will you be able to do it? Samji, 2 reps. If you're good, 10 reps. I used to think I was good. 10 reps, wow, that's good. How often do you think you will shoot your bow in a battle? When Maharathis fought, thousands of arrows would go. So how often are you pulling it? So whole day you are doing only knock, knock, unnock, keep it down. What in modern warfare you will say? Load, unload, keep the rifle down. And after all this went on, there are more details which I am not going into. You all will get bored by that time. For someone into martial arts, it's very interesting. And at the end of the first year, they were all supposed to shoot at the target. The eye of the bird in the tree. False bird, artificial bird. Everyone was asked to focus and say, what do you see? So everyone described what they saw. Not yet ready, don't shoot. Arjuna said, what do you see? Eye of the bird. What else? Nothing else. Shoot. Drona didn't even go to check up whether the arrow had hit the target or not. The mind has hit the target, energy has hit the target, the arrow only has to follow his path. This is only step one. Focused awareness. In yoga, we will call it dharana. Then, that's not how a battle is fought. Why? Battle. The arrows can come from any side. You may be fighting one person, another Maharati, but 100 other people can attack you. So you need what? Diffused awareness. Focused awareness, diffused awareness. So that training is still left. Diffused awareness. Then you have to combine focus with diffusement. You can do that only if you step apart from your mind and be the witness. This is meditation, being the witness. Sakshi Bhavam. Arjuna, one of the greatest Maharathis. So by the time he was 15, 16, he was already a great meditator. Do you think he needed this chapter? No. The whole Gita is an elaboration by Vyasa. What Krishna said briefly, Vyasa elaborated. That's why there is a Dhyana sloka which says, Arjuna was the cow that drank the nectar, the milk of the Vedas. Krishna was the milkman. Vyasa was the one who elaborated the whole thing. Sudhihi Bhokta. And all of us are the people who are enjoying the milk. Because Arjuna needed very little. Second chapter, his job was done, I'm telling you. At the end of the second chapter, Arjuna was fine. Everything else is elaboration by Vyasa. For you and me. Yeah, I needed the elaboration. Come on. Of course I needed it. Yeah. Okay. All right. So he said, I digressed to show what type of mind. A warrior mind. Therefore, what type of mind is a meditator's mind? That also you have to understand. That means tomorrow when you are working in your office setup, are you stressed? A lot of work. So what do we do normally? Inbox. Array, this requires attention. I have to get that information. Okay, keep it aside. Second, that also requires some other information. Keep it aside. So at the end of the day, you've seen 100 papers. How many of you solved? How many of you taken action on? Which genuinely requires consultation from other people, keep that aside. Others take a decision. So you require information, get the information, handle it. So by the end of the day, at least 50% of that thing is done. Otherwise, at the end of the day, oh my God, I have not achieved much here, everything. I did so much of work. Correct? Did so much of work, and nothing is achieved. Be calm, peaceful, finish whatever is this. Okay, this requires information, keep it aside. Other things, finish. Calm, peaceful. At the end of the day, 80% is taken care of, 90% is taken care of. This can be it because I'll speak to that guy tomorrow and get all that. We'll have a team meeting and finish it off. Done. At the end of the day, you're tired because of the work, but you're calm, you're peaceful, you're not stressed out. You're ready to go out with your friends before you go home. Why? Nice day. Achieved a lot. You feel good about yourself. Otherwise, in the first case, you don't feel good about yourself. You have worked a lot but achieved little. meditator, okay? Therefore he adds here, Yuktahara viharasya Yukta cheshtasu karmasu Yukta swapnava bodhasya Yogi bhavati dukkha. Yuktahara viharasya, one who is appropriate in his ahara, in his eating. Vihara, in how much he roams around. How much of activity? Appropriate, necessary activity. Don't waste your energies. Nowadays we eat so much, we have to burn calories. Because ahara is not is too much. Vihara also has to be too much. Activity also has to be too much. Yukta ahara vihara. Don't worry, I'm not criticizing you all. I'm including myself in this, okay? I'm yet to knock off my COVID weight. 2-3 kilos I still have. Okay, we all are at fault. Yukta ahara viharasya. Yukta cheshtasu karmasu. Appropriate in terms of cheshta or karma. The things that you do. Don't waste unnecessary energy. Okay? Yeah. Haven't you seen some people when they're working? There's so much of restless energy in them. Yeah. Why? You know, legs are shaking. Relax, yeah, come on. Samji, but you also have, you move your hands and all a lot when you talk. Yeah. I picked it up from my grand guru Swami Chinmayananji. You know, because in the Navy it's different. You don't move when you speak. Yeah. Only your mouth moves, because only your mouth is supposed to move when you speak, not your hands. That training was different. But when I learned under Swami Chinmayananji, he used to always say, I am telling something which the words cannot always convey. So please come close enough so that you can see the Kathakali. It's an Indian dance form. Kathakali I do with my hands. Body language communication. Okay. So, something they picked up from him. Not that's always necessary, but okay. Therefore, yukta ahara viharasya, yukta cheshtasu karmasu, yukta swapna avabodhasya, appropriate sleep and wakefulness. Such a yogi bhavati dukkha. Such a person is fit for this practice, which will completely eliminate sorrow. Because here is going to define yoga as a dissociation, okay, from sorrow. We're going to define that. Remember in the yoga festival once I talked about, or this time in UK also I talked about the yoga students, 4 definitions of yoga. First is Patanjali's definition, Chitta Vritti Nirodha, mastery of the mind. Second is respect to Karma Yoga, Samatvam, balance in life is yoga. Third is Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam, your personal sense of efficiency, including your value structure, etc. Personal competency, personal. Okay. Very important thing, how you handle your emotions, how you handle your communications, all that is part of personal competency, part of yoga, Kaushalata. And the 4th definition is dissociation from your natural association with grief. Dukkha Samyoga Viyoga. We'll come across it in the 6th chapter. Okay, we'll come across that. That I'll elaborate that. Therefore, Dukkha, this contemplation that can destroy all your sorrows, negate all your sorrows. You're fit for it. You're fit for that practice, the contemplating Nididhyasanam, only if you're living a balanced lifestyle. If your lifestyle has got some balance in it, some perspective about it. Okay? In fact, a life of moderation, not a life of extremes. This is exactly what Buddha said, isn't it? Right attitude, right work, right this, right that, right that. The whole eightfold path of Buddha is based on this. Swamiji, why not this be based on what Buddha said? Because this happened a couple of thousand years before Buddha. The Gita happened a couple of thousand years before Buddha. Okay, that's why I'm saying. See, Buddha, for us, Buddha was not a founder of Buddhism. Okay, Buddha was one of our teachers. 500 years after Buddha, they started calling it Buddhism. After Nagarjuna and Ashwagosha, two writers, they started calling it Buddhism. Before that, Buddha was respected as one of our guys. Apna sadhu lok hai. We have so many sadhus here. He's one of them. Great guy, okay. Why great guy? Because he gave up a kingdom. So you respect that more. Yeah. That's all. Nothing else. Okay. All right, Dukkha. All right. How do I know that I have achieved this? What is benchmarking available? Benchmarking you want? Okay, that also I'll tell you. Okay. He says, Yada viniyatam chittam atmanyeva avatishtate nispraha sarva kamebhya yuktaha iti uchyate tadaha. You are a yuktaha, a person together who has achieved that meditative state as a part of your life. When Yada viniyatam chittam, when the mind that has been mastered already, okay, with the practice of karma yoga, yogasanas, pranayama, etc., as well as karma yoga buddhi, various ways of mastering the mind, when it is already being mastered, viniyatam chittam, where is it supposed to resolve into? Atmani eva. It is awake with the self-knowledge. And your mind was going here and there. You were disowned, even though you had that knowledge, it was not becoming a part of your life. You had not owned it up. It had gone in here. It had not sunk into the heart. So to sink it into the heart is meditation. So when it sinks into the heart, Atmanyava Vatishtati. Where is your mind? Not no mind state. Full of mind. The consciousness fills up the mind. Where is the mind? In consciousness. That's it. What is there? One flame of consciousness, nothing else. That way he says, Nispraha sarva kamebhya. You will understand it if you are untouched by any desire at that type of meditation. Why? Here the desire is talking about is not the longing for things. That has already been taken care of in Karma Yoga. There are a few things everyone will long for. Who will not long for? Or a dinner, what you would like to have? You will have a choice, no? You will have a choice. What is your choice? That shows a desire, no? A preference at least, if not a desire. Some of you, what do you want? Sambar rice for dinner? Boring. I have it every day. Give me some pasta, that I will enjoy. Nice cheesy pasta. Maja aayega. No, the very fact I said it shows what? There is a certain preference in the mind or not? Otherwise, why did I choose pasta? I could have chosen something else, no? What comes into your mind? Either because of previous enjoyments, put it that way. Usually, once you know the truth or you are close to that, it is because of previous enjoyment, a pattern, or you are a foodie, you like something. If you are a foodie, there is not much choice, okay? You like all food. So there is something. Therefore, in your seat of meditation, are you getting such thoughts? Such pattern is it emerging? Not to make you feel guilty, but to break that pattern of thinking. In meditation, you cannot have such patterns coming up. When you are talking, teaching, it comes up is a different thing because they are useful for examples. In meditation, these patterns don't come up. You weren't sitting in meditation. Shantoham. Buddhoham Shantoham. Where is Shanti gone? Why are you thinking of Shanti, the girl next door? You are supposed to be thinking the Shanta Swarupa of yourself, not the girl next door. Shantoham, Shantoham. Hey, the new restaurant, Shanta Palace, has opened up. I should go there sometime. What is triggering off? Kama, not in terms of longing or something, but this in terms of this residual pattern he is talking about here. Okay? This is just sheer residual pattern. You, in meditation, is meant to break your patterns. decondition your mind. Break patterns. Break the pattern of thinking. In life, you may have your preferences, and that's perfectly fine. Of course, you have your preferences. That accounts for a variety of in the world, no? We had a yoga festival. 1,500 yogis coming there. Just imagine if all of them were going to eat only salads and things like that. You'd have a long line in front of that one stall. But there's a varieties, all healthy food, sattvic food, vegetarian food, very healthy, very sattvic. But variety is there. Even the pizzas were healthy food. Gluten free, etc. All that. So sattvic food, freshly cooked, made in front of you and given. Good stuff. But variety, of course, is variety in your life. Otherwise, life will become so boring. And I'll tell you a secret. Sadhus are happy eating dal, chawal, or roti and dal every day. But you put a good meal in front of them, you should see how they enjoy it. Why? You are Ananda, you can enjoy anything. What's the problem of enjoyment? Oh, I should not enjoy, I feel guilty. Nothing of that sort. What guilt? You enjoy, you enjoy. You don't have it, don't have it. You have your preferences, of course. I always said this now. You ask a South Indian Mahatma in the morning, what will you have, Maharaji? Will you have milk or will you have coffee? What will he say? South Indian. Tambran. Tambran. Of course he will want coffee. What else? Karthik, just see whether there is anyone in the waiting list, in the waiting room. I can't see it on my this thing. Yeah?
Nobody is.
Okay. So, naturally he'll say coffee. You ask a Punjabian Mahatma from Punjab, Maharaj, what will you have? Coffee peege or milk? Of course milk. When you can drink milk, why should you drink coffee? Cultural these are. These are cultural, that is not an issue. But here, if that cultural thing or your past desire is interfering in your meditation, when it stops interfering, when the pattern is broken, the idea is this. I'm just giving food examples because that's the easiest. I can give you a lot of other examples also. Okay? A lot of things come into my mind. But I'm not. I'm refraining myself from that, from those examples. Okay? Your fantasies, etc. So, breaking that pattern. Nispraha sarva kamebhyaha yuktaha iti uchyate. Then you are succeeded in that. You are a person who is together. You are integrated. Your thinking, your emotions, and your actions together. Because meditation is about integrating your knowing, feeling entity. Because that is the one that is disintegrated at any time, modern or ancient living. Because we don't always live by what we know. Our emotions drive it away, our habits drive it away. In Bombay, rainy season, we know street food is bad, can be infected, etc. But now, in our time, we are prevented from eating street food as kids. Nowadays, street food festival. My God, what are you doing? Putting the wrong habit in kids. Nothing wrong with the street food festival because there it is cleanly, hygienically made. But the idea that is going to the kids is wrong. And you'll always have an excuse, even as adults. No, my street food vendor, my Bel Puri wala, he is very clean and hygienic. He actually wears gloves when he does it. Have you checked his water? Where he's getting his water source from? He's having a cart on the road. Where is the water supply? He's getting it in cans from the local tap, which can be, it's potable all right, but it is not always very hygienic. Potable, Bombay water is potable, but don't blame me if you get a stomach upset. You won't die, but you get a stomach. We know it is not the best of things to do, especially in the rain. But we do it. Why? We are not living by our knowledge. The lies that we tell. Don't tell the truth is fine. Keep quiet. That's okay. But every lie that we say, we are denying it. Creating knower, doer, slips. All these things happen. Normal life, Baba. I am not talking about someone who's lying and cheating. I am talking about you and me, normal people. Did we not tell a white lie yesterday? Samji, what yesterday? Today. We say, but it creates this disintegration. So you need meditation to integrate these two. Your knower feeler. So that the knowledge that you have will flow through and become a fact of your life. So consciousness is not in some corner of the mind. Fact of life. So meditation is meant for that. Okay? So both together makes your life complete. Learning, Shravanam it's called. Removing doubts is called Maranam. Nididhyasanam, owning up that knowledge. Okay? So you do that. Before you know it, when you start studying, you think, this will take many lifetimes. This knowledge, many lifetimes it will take. Then after some studies, you get hopeful. Maybe by the end of my life, I'll be okay. And then before you know it, one day you find, hey, everything is fine here. I still have life ahead of me. Believe me, this is what everyone who has got this knowledge has come to feel. Everyone, I'm telling you, without an exception. Anyone who knows the truth thought, I will take it another 20 years. No, it's fine. I can work it on my firmness a bit more if necessary, but nothing more than that. I'm clear. So, not enough time for meditation today. That we will see in the next class. Okay, good place to stop. Think it over. What meditation I taught, do that. And I'm not even asking whether it was done in the 2 weeks I was not there. Okay, I'm not even asking that. I have some idea how much it would have been done by whom. Okay. So, good place to stop. Night is still young. Have a nice day. All that's.
And I'm
Take care
sorry.
of you.
Thank you.